Chapter 1. The Ground Between Two Armies. Zama is a small city on a plain. The plain is flat in the way that only African plains are flat, not just level. Empty. The hills in the distance are low and far and do not interrupt the sky. In the morning the light comes across the ground sideways. Every rock makes a long shadow. Every rut in the earth makes one too. By midday there are no shadows. Only heat and flat brown earth and the silence of open country. The silence is not nothing. It has weight. It has texture. There is no wind here this time of year. There is no rain. The air holds its warmth from the day before and starts again with it. In October the air is dry and the ground is dry and the dust stays where it is put. Move through it and it follows you. The dust of a moving army stays visible for hours after the army has stopped. Scipio arrives in the third week of October. He rides the perimeter of the plain before anything else. Alone. He has done this before every battle he has fought. The ground is the first fact. The ground determines everything that happens on top of it. He reads it the way he reads a map. He reads the drainage. He reads where the dust collects. He reads the particular way the morning light moves across it at different hours. The plain at Zama is good ground for infantry. It is also good ground for cavalry. Room to move in every direction. Nothing to hide behind. What happens here will happen in the open. In the full light. Everyone will see it. He rides the length of the plain twice. He rides the width of it once. He notes the ground that is softer near the center. He notes where two shallow channels cross at the eastern edge. He notes the one place, near the northern boundary of the plain, where the ground rises slightly. Not a hill. A swelling. It is not significant. He notes it anyway. He dismounts at the center of the plain. He stands there. He thinks about Kenny. At Kenny the plain was also open. The same kind of light. The same flat ground without shelter. The Romans brought 80,000 men. The largest army they had ever assembled. They brought it because they were tired of losing. They had lost at Trebia. Hannibal had chosen ground near the river. He used the cold to slow the Roman skirmishers. He held his best troops back. He let the Roman center push through. Then the flanks came. The Romans did not understand what was happening until it was already done. 15,000 died. They had lost at Trasimene. Hannibal had arranged an ambush along a lake road. Fog in the morning. The Romans marched into it. There was nowhere to run. 15,000 more. The consul leading the army died in the first minutes. His head was never found. Then Kenny. The plain was open. The Romans thought open ground meant safety. No ambush possible. No surprise. What happened was not an ambush. It was a new thing. Hannibal put his weakest troops in the center and his best on the flanks. He let the Roman center push forward. He planned for it. He built the shape of what he wanted to happen and he waited for the Romans to walk into it. Then the flanks closed. The trap was simple. It was perfect. 70,000 men died in it. Scipio was 18. He counted the dead. He has thought about Kenny every day since. Not as a trauma. He has thought about it as a problem. As a demonstration. Hannibal showed what was possible with the bodies of Romans. The pattern was in the geometry. The weakest center, the strong flanks, the closing motion. The lesson was this. The ground was not what mattered. What mattered was the shape of the thing. What mattered was the willingness to sacrifice one part to make another part stronger. To give them what they want in the center. So that you can take everything from them at the edges. He has spent 10 years thinking about what to do with that lesson. He mounts and rides back to camp. The scouts return on the second day. Hannibal has 80 elephants. He gathered them in the months after his return from Italy. He has been building this army for a year. The elephants are the centerpiece of it. Every general who uses elephants uses them the same way. You send them first. You send them at the enemy's front. You see what the enemy does. Scipio has seen what elephants do to formations that are not ready for them. He sat with this information for one night. He thought about the shape of the problem. The elephants would come first. The elephants were large enough and fast enough to break any formation that did not move for them. If the formation moved incorrectly, it would break. If it broke before the battle was joined, the battle was already lost. The formation needed to move correctly. He called his officers together the next morning. He explained the formation change. The maniples, normally arranged in a checkerboard, would align straight from front to back. Lanes. Gaps running through the formation from front to rear. When the elephants charged, the lanes would open. The animals would run through. The rear ranks would close the lanes behind them. The formation would remain intact. He drew it on a flat piece of ground with a stick while he explained it. He showed the positions of each maniple. He showed the width of the lanes relative to the size of an elephant. He showed where the velites would be. Ahead of the formation. Throwing javelins and sounding horns. Their job was to turn as many animals as possible before the lanes. He said it once. He asked if there were questions. There were questions. He answered them. He said, the lanes must open fast. Faster than the animal can react. If the lane is slow to open, the animal has nowhere to go and it goes through the formation instead. That is what we are preventing. He said, the lanes must close equally fast. An open lane is a gap in the formation. A gap in the formation is an invitation to the infantry behind the elephants. Close the lane before the next animal or the next man reaches it. He did not say what happens if the elephants do not follow the lanes. Both possibilities were already understood. If the elephants followed the lanes, the plan worked. If they did not, the plan failed and the battle was over before the infantry engaged. Both men knew this. He did not repeat what both men knew. He dismissed the officers and began the training. The soldiers trained for 2 days without being told why. On the first day the lanes were slow. Not dangerously slow. Slow enough that an elephant would not have made it through cleanly. He corrected the timing. He stood at the side of the practice ground and watched. He stopped individual men and showed them the motion with his hands. Not how it should look. How fast it had to happen. A soldier named Aulus was consistently half a beat late. He was a solid man. A veteran of 4 campaigns. He had been in the line at Becula and at Ilipa. He was not slow. He was half a beat late. Scipio called him out of the line and stood with him. He said, the other men are not your problem. Your footfall is your problem. Count the signal. Not the man next to you. The signal. Aulus practiced the motion alone 6 times. Then he went back into the line. He was no longer half a beat late. On the second day the lanes opened at the right speed. They opened as one motion across the entire front of the formation. Scipio stood at the far end of the practice ground and watched. The gaps appeared and then disappeared as if the formation breathed. The timing was right. He watched it twice more. It was right both times. He is 28 years old. He has been planning this battle for 4 years. He planned it the night he stood on the walls of Carthago Nova. The sea was behind him. Africa was visible on clear days across the water. He planned it through the winter in Sicily. He planned it in Africa on the coastal maps with Masinissa. His finger tracing the routes inland. The distance from the coast to Zama. The time it would take. Comes down to the lanes. The timing. The cavalry at the right moment. He does not know yet if the plan is right. He will not know until tomorrow. Every plan ends when the battle starts. After that, the battle does what battles do. He has seen battles that were planned correctly and executed badly. He has seen plans that were wrong saved by the enemy making a larger mistake. He has seen the right answer fail because of one man half a beat late. He watches the lanes open and close. The soldiers are faster today than yesterday. He dismisses the men and goes to his tent. The letter from Hannibal arrives at evening. A rider under a white flag. The letter is brief. Hannibal requests a meeting between the 2 commanders. The morning before the battle. Open ground between the 2 armies. 2 men. No escort except personal guards at a distance. Scipio reads the letter twice. He sits with it for a long time. He knows what the letter is. It is an attempt at a negotiated end. Hannibal has something to offer. He would not have asked for the meeting if he did not. Scipio knows what the terms will probably be. They will be real terms. Not the terms of a man who is desperate. The terms of a man who is calculating. Hannibal has always calculated. Even here. Even now with no fleet and a smaller army and the cavalry he will need fighting against him. What the letter does not say is what Scipio hears most clearly. Hannibal asked for the meeting. Hannibal has been in the field for 30 years. He fought his way down from the Alps. He spent 14 years winning battles in Italy. Rome rebuilt its armies and sent them against him one after another. He never asked anyone for anything except what he could take. He asked for this. Scipio has been thinking about Hannibal since he was 18 years old. He has thought about him as a tactical problem, as the reason this war has lasted 16 years. He has studied his battles the way you study things that killed people you knew. Trebia, Trasimene, Kene. He has drawn the movements on paper in the lamplight until the pattern was clear. The same pattern each time. Give them what they expect in the front. Take everything from the sides and the back. He has not thought about him as a man who sends letters. He writes his reply before dark. He agrees to the meeting. He sits outside his tent for a long time after. The camp makes its evening sounds. Fires. The smell of bread baking near the supply carts. Men talking in the low voices of men who know tomorrow will be a fighting day. A horse stamps and goes quiet somewhere in the cavalry section. He is 28 years old. Tomorrow he will meet the man who killed 70,000 Romans at Cannae, who then spent 14 more years winning battles in Italy, who returned to Africa when Scipio brought the war to him, who has been building this army for a year. He will try to make better terms than the man deserves to receive. He will fail. He knows already that he will fail. The terms Hannibal can offer are not the terms this war ends on. The war ends when one side cannot fight anymore. Tomorrow will determine which side that is. He goes inside. He looks at the maps one more time. He traces the plain with his finger. The center. The flanks. The lanes. He puts the lamp out. He does not sleep well. He does not expect to. He lies in the dark and he thinks about the shape of it. The elephants first. The lanes. Then the infantry in 3 lines. The veterans in the 3rd. He has not fought Hannibal's veterans. He has heard about them. He has read the accounts. He knows what they did at every major engagement over 16 years. He knows what he has. His legions are not veterans of this war in the way Hannibal's 3rd line is. His men are good soldiers. They have won battles. But they have not spent 16 years winning battles against better numbers. They have not been in the field without a supply line. They have not done the particular thing Hannibal's veterans have done, which is to survive so long in circumstances that should have destroyed them. He has something Hannibal does not. He has Masinissa. Masinissa's cavalry has been the fact of this campaign that nothing accounts for until you see it working. 3,000 Numidian horses. Riders who have been on horseback since they were children. Who do not ride their animals. Who are part of them. The Carthaginian cavalry is capable. The Numidian cavalry under Masinissa is something else. At the right moment. Comes down to the right moment. He closes his eyes. He will find out in the morning if the lanes work. He will find out in the afternoon if Masinissa comes back. That is when it will be decided. When the dust is moving from one direction or another. He will look for the dust. He sleeps eventually. He always does. The plain holds one more thing he has not noted yet. He finds it on his second ride around the perimeter. On the southern boundary of the plain there is a dry stream bed. Not deep. Wide enough for a man to step across without effort. In spring it carries water from the hills behind the Carthaginian position. In October it is nothing. A line in the ground. A slight depression. He rides along it. The streambed runs east to west. It crosses behind the position where Hannibal's rear will be. If Hannibal sets his army with the streambed behind him, the cavalry will have difficulty crossing it at speed. Not impossible. Difficult. An obstacle that slows the horses and breaks the formation. If Masinissa returns from the pursuit and has to cross the streambed, he loses a minute. Maybe 2. He rides back and looks at the field from the north. Hannibal will see the streambed too. He has been planning battles in Africa for a year. He has been moving through this ground. He will know about the streambed. He will not put his rear against it. He will put his rear on open ground where his cavalry can maneuver. This tells Scipio where Hannibal will position himself. He looks at the flat center of the plain. The position that leaves the most room in every direction. That is where Hannibal will stand. That is also where Scipio will stand. He rides back to camp. He eats in the evening with Laelius. Laelius has been his closest officer since Spain. Since the siege of Carthago Nova. They do not talk about the battle. The battle is planned. The plan exists in the orders that have been given. Talking about the plan now changes nothing. They talk about Spain instead. About the siege. The winter they spent afterward, the army was restless. There was a near mutiny. Scipio handled it by appearing at the full assembly and speaking without preparation for 2 hours. He does not know what he said. He knows it worked. The specific quality of what he said mattered less than the fact that he said it to their faces. Laelius says, "Do you know what they were asking for?" Scipio says, "More pay and a return date." Laelius says, "And you gave them neither." Scipio says, "No." Laelius says, "And yet." Scipio says, "And yet." Laelius drinks. He is quiet for a moment. He says, "Tomorrow." Scipio says, "Yes." Laelius says, "The lanes will work." Scipio says, "We will see." This is the honest answer. Laelius knows it. They have been in enough battles together that honesty is possible. Not all commanders can tell the honest thing to their officers. Scipio can. He has found it works better than reassurance. Reassurance is what men give when they do not know the answer. Honest uncertainty is what men give when they have done everything they can and the rest is the battle itself. Laelius nods. They finish eating. He writes one more letter that night. He writes to his daughter. She is 8 years old. He has not seen her since he left Rome. He does not tell her what tomorrow is. He tells her what Africa looks like in October. The color of the plain at evening. The way the stars are different here than over the Tiber. He tells her about a bird he saw near the camp this morning. A species he does not know the name of. A small brown bird. It sat on the edge of the supply cart. It looked at him. Then it was gone. He tells her he will come home. He seals the letter. He will send it in the morning with the regular dispatch. So it does not seem like the letter you send the night before. He puts the lamp out. He thinks about Masinissa one more time before he sleeps. They have worked together for 2 years. The agreement made on the coast when Scipio first landed in Africa. Masinissa and his cavalry in exchange for the promise of his kingdom back. The kingdom that Syphax took. That Rome helped Syphax take before Rome needed Masinissa. These are the facts. He does not find them comfortable. He does not look away from them. Masinissa has kept his end without complaint. He has fought every engagement. He has pushed when asked to push and held when asked to hold. He has done more than that. He has given counsel that proved correct more often than Scipio's own officers. He reads ground and situation the way Scipio reads maps. Faster. Tomorrow Scipio needs him to do one more thing. He needs him to go as far as he can go. To scatter the Carthaginian cavalry completely. Not to partially pursue. To destroy the threat entirely. And then to come back. At the right time. The timing is the thing Scipio cannot control from where he will be standing. He gave Masinissa the description of what to watch for. The sound of the battle changing. The particular way the pressure on the Roman line will feel when the veterans engage. Masinissa knows what that means. He has fought in enough battles to read the sound of one. He has to trust this. He does not know if he trusts it fully. He does not know if full trust is possible in this kind of thing. He has done everything he can do. The rest is the battle itself. And Masinissa's judgment in the field. This is what it is. He closes his eyes and lets himself stop thinking about it. Chapter 2. 2 Generals Between Two Armies. He wakes before the camp does. Before the watch changes. Before the fires are rebuilt. He lies in the dark of his tent and listens to the camp around him. He can tell from the sounds when an army is awake and when it is still sleeping. The sounds are different. A sleeping camp has its own particular kind of noise. Breathing made collective. The sound of animals resting. The specific quality of silence that 8,000 men make when they are all unconscious at the same time. He lies there and thinks about nothing. He has learned to do this. To hold his mind in a particular state before a battle day. Not thinking about the plan. The plan is finished. The plan exists now on the ground. In the positions of his men. In the lanes drilled into the maniples over 2 days. The plan will either work or it will not. Thinking about it more does nothing. He thinks about nothing. He watches the dark. An hour later he gets up. He drinks water. He eats bread. He puts on his armor. His body armor is field armor, not parade armor. It is worn at the shoulder from use. One buckle on the left side has been replaced twice. He puts it on himself. His servants offer to help. He declines. He has put his own armor on before every engagement since Becula. He does not know why this matters. It matters. He goes outside. The camp is starting. Men moving. The fires being rebuilt. The smell of the morning filling the air from the river a mile away. The plain is still dark. In an hour it will be light enough. He walks to where his horse is staked. The animal is awake, and knows what the day is. Animals understand the quality of a day before any person does. He puts his hand on its neck. The horse is still under his hand. He leaves it there for a moment. Then he mounts and rides to the middle. They meet on the plain at mid-morning. Each man comes with a small group of riders. They stop at a distance from each other. The two commanders ride forward alone. They meet at the midpoint. Behind Scipio, his army. Behind Hannibal, his. The plain is very quiet. The watching is very still. Hannibal is 45 years old. He is not what the stories suggest. The stories suggest a tall man, commanding, someone who fills a space by arriving. What Scipio sees is a man of middle height who moves carefully. His left eye is gone. The fever took it in the Italian marshes 20 years ago. He wears this as a fact. It does not diminish him. It is simply part of what he is. He looks at the position of the sun before he does anything else. On the plain there is no window to find. He looks for the light anyway. He notes the angle. He moves slightly so the light is not directly in his remaining eye. He has been doing this for 20 years without thinking about it. It is the habit of a man who has learned to use every edge. Scipio watches him do it. He does not comment. They face each other on horseback. The two horses are very close. Close enough that Scipio can see the lines in Hannibal's face. Not old lines exactly. The lines of a face that has been outdoors for 30 years. When cold. The son of 3 different continents. Africa. Spain. Italy. Now Africa again. He is not nervous. He has been in camps and on plains for 30 years. He has met kings and senators and men who thought they were both. He does not perform steadiness. He simply is steady. This is, Scipio thinks, the most dangerous man in the world. Standing this close. The interpreter between them. The two armies watching from their positions 200 meters back. He does not feel what he expected to feel. Hannibal speaks through an interpreter. He says, I have been fighting for 30 years. Since I was 9 years old. My father brought me on campaign before I could hold a sword properly. I have been in the field every year since except 2. He says, I have won battles that no one believed were possible. I have kept an army in the field in enemy territory for 14 years. Without a supply line. Without reinforcement. I did this. He pauses. The interpreter renders it. Scipio listens. Hannibal says, 30 years of war taught me one thing. The side that wins does not end the war. Both sides pay. The winning side pays less. But they pay. He says, I am offering you an end. He lays out the terms. Carthage will give up its Spanish territories. It will give up its islands. It will reduce its navy. It will pay reparations. It will not make war outside Africa without Rome's consent. It will be a lesser power, but it will still exist. He says, these are serious terms. They are not the terms of a man who has nothing to offer. He says, think about what Rome has already paid. Think about what more fighting costs. Scipio listens to all of it. He watches Hannibal while he listens. The way the man holds his body. The economy of his gestures. When he speaks through the interpreter, he does not watch the interpreter. He watches Scipio. He is reading. The same way Scipio has read terrain. Looking at the particular thing that will decide the outcome. The terms are real terms. They are not the terms of desperation. They are calculated terms. This is a man who has done the arithmetic. He knows what the minimum acceptable outcome looks like for both sides. He is offering Rome the arithmetic. He is quiet for a moment. He says, those terms are not enough. Hannibal looks at him. He says, what would be enough? Scipio says, what Carthage would have demanded if the situation were reversed. Complete terms. Not partial ones. Hannibal is quiet. He looks past Scipio's shoulder at the space behind him. He does this when he is thinking. Not at the man. At the space around the problem. He has always done this. It is how the solutions come. You do not stare at the thing itself. You look at the shape of the space it occupies. He says, you know that means more fighting. Scipio says, yes. Hannibal says, men will die tomorrow who do not need to die today. Scipio says, I know. Hannibal says, you are willing to accept that. Scipio says, I am. Hannibal looks at him. He really looks at him for the first time in the conversation. Not at the problem. At the man. He is doing the thing he has been doing his whole life. Finding the thing that will break. Looking at where the structure is weakest. He does not find it. He says, you are 28 years old. Scipio says, yes. Hannibal says, I was 28 when I crossed the Alps. He says this without particular feeling. He is placing two facts side by side. He is looking at what they produce when placed together. 28 years old. Standing on a plain in Africa. Saying no to a negotiation that most men would accept. That is one kind of young man. He was that kind of young man at 28. He recognizes it. He is not sure if recognition comforts him. Scipio says, I know. The silence. The plain is very still. The two armies are watching from their positions. They are too far to hear the words. They are watching the two men on horseback in the middle of the plain. They are watching the way two men stand when they both know something. The silence travels differently on flat open ground. It moves the way heat moves. Everywhere at once. Hannibal says, I was never beaten in the field. He says it calmly. As a fact among other facts. Not pride. Not a warning. He has said it to himself in the dark of many nights. He is saying it out loud now because this is the moment that calls for accurate statements. He has been beaten in the field exactly once in 30 years. That is today. He knows that. He is naming the last true thing he has before it stops being true. Scipio says nothing. Hannibal says, tomorrow you will try to beat me in the field. Scipio says, yes. Hannibal says, then we have nothing more to discuss. He says it the way you say a conclusion that follows from the evidence. Not an accusation. Not a warning. A conclusion. This is the arithmetic reaching its end. Two men on a plain in Africa. Everything that can be said has been said. What is left is tomorrow. Scipio says, no. We have nothing more to discuss. They turn their horses. Hannibal rides back toward his army. He rides slowly. The interpreter rides at his right. He says nothing to the interpreter. He thinks about the 28-year-old. He has seen many commanders. Good ones and bad ones, and the kind who are good in certain conditions and bad in others. He has read them at a distance. The way you read terrain. Looking for the thing that will break them. He read this one for 20 minutes. He did not find it. This is not the same as saying the man is unbreakable. Every man has the thing. The condition under which the structure fails. He did not find it in 20 minutes. This tells him something. Not that the man cannot be beaten. That he will not be broken by pressure in the way that most men are broken by pressure. The calculation will have to be different. He does not have the cavalry for a different calculation. He knows what he has. He has 80 elephants and 3 infantry lines. His third line has not lost a battle in 16 years. His cavalry is outnumbered by Masinissa's Numidians. He does not have the cavalry to do what he would need to do. He rides back to his army. He gives his orders for dawn. He gives them clearly and once. He does not repeat himself. The officers go. He sits alone for a time. He has fought 30 years. He has spent 10 of those years in Italy. He was 18 when his father died in Spain. He was 22 when he crossed the Alps. He has not been home since. He thinks about home briefly. He does not do this often. It is not useful to think about it, but he lets himself now for a moment. The house he grew up in. The harbor. The sound of the harbor in the morning. He sets it aside. Tomorrow is tomorrow. Scipio rides back to his own army. He rides at a walk. He is thinking about the silence. The silence after Hannibal said, I was never beaten in the field. He knows what that silence was. It was not a threat. It was not pride. It was a man who has counted everything and arrived at an accurate number. Now saying it out loud. Because honesty is what is left when everything else is gone. He spent 20 minutes reading Hannibal. What he found was a man who has been right for 30 years. Who is about to be wrong for the first time. Who knows it. Who does not flinch from knowing it. He has never met anyone like this. Not in this specific way. The intelligence is not surprising. He expected the intelligence. What he did not expect was the quality of the stillness in the man. The particular way he occupies the ground he stands on. As if it is an extension of a calculation he is always running. He gives his orders for dawn. He goes to his tent. He does not look at the maps again. He has looked at them enough. He sits in the dark for a time and then he lies down. He will meet Hannibal again tomorrow. On different terms. He does not sleep easily before a battle. He has learned not to fight this. You cannot make yourself sleep by wanting to sleep. The body will sleep when it sleeps. He lies in the dark and lets the thoughts come and go without holding them. The training. The lanes. Masinissa's position. The stream bed. The veterans. He lets each thing pass through and does not stop to examine it. He thinks about the conference again. The 20 minutes. He has been turning them over since the afternoon. He was looking for the thing every commander looks for when they face a new enemy for the first time. The specific flaw. The place where the structure is weakest. Every man has one. Hannibal looked for his and did not find it. He looked for Hannibal's. He did not find it either. What he found instead was something he had not expected to find. A man who was completely honest about his own situation. Not performing confidence. Not concealing weakness. Hannibal knew exactly what position he was in. He said so. He offered what he could offer. When it was not accepted, he accepted that. There is a version of Hannibal, the version the Senate talks about, that is something close to a monster. The man who killed 70,000 Romans at Cannae. Who marched through Italy for 14 years doing exactly what he pleased. That version is useful to Rome. It explains how this war lasted so long. It explains why the war required this effort to end. What Scipio saw in 20 minutes on the plain was not that version. He saw a man at 45 years old who has been right about almost everything his whole life. Who is now in a position where being right is no longer enough. He does not know what to do with this. He has not yet found the word for it. He closes his eyes. He counts his breath. He sleeps eventually. He always does. The morning before the battle has a specific quality. He has felt it before Becula. Before Ilipa. Before the assault on Carthago Nova. The morning of a day you have been building toward for a long time. The air does not feel different. The sounds are the same. But the day has a different weight. Not heavier. More specific. As if each thing is exactly what it is and nothing more. He puts his hands flat on the ground outside his tent. He does this before battles. He does not know where the habit came from. He puts his hands on the ground and stays that way for a moment. The ground in the morning is cool. It holds the cold of the night and releases it slowly. The warmth will come later from above. For now the ground is cool and still. He thinks about his father. His father died at the Ticinus River. He was 17. He pulled his father from the field when his father could not walk. He carried him. He did not know yet that generals did not carry their fathers from fields. He knew it afterward. He did not care. His father would have had something to say about today. Something short. His father always said things short. He would have said, "The lanes are correct." And that would have been enough. He stands up. He brushes his hands. He goes to get his horse. He walks back through the Carthaginian camp. Not directly to his position. He takes the long way. He rides at a walk along the edge of his own formation. He wants to see the men before they go to their positions for the night. He wants to see what they look like. What their eyes look like. He has done this before every battle since Spain. He does not speak to them. He does not give speeches in the evening before a battle. He has found that speeches before battles are for commanders who need the speeches. His men know what tomorrow is. They know what is at stake. What they need is not words. What they need is to see him on his horse. Come. Moving at a walk. As if tomorrow is a thing that can be faced. He rides the full length of the formation. He sees what he needs to see. The men are tired. They are afraid. Both of these things are correct. Tomorrow they will be tired and afraid and they will do their jobs anyway. He knows this because he knows what his men are. He passes a man he has seen before. A soldier in the 3rd cohort. He does not know the man's name. He knows the face. The man was in the 3rd rank at Illapa. He did something Scipio noticed and filed away. He turned a flanking movement by a single action that should have required 3 men. He did it without thinking. Without being told. He just did the correct thing and kept moving. Scipio stops his horse. He says, 3rd cohort. You were at Illapa. The soldier looks up. He is surprised. He says, yes sir. Scipio says, right flank 3rd engagement. The soldier is very still. Scipio says nothing more. He rides on. The soldier stands and watches him go. He will tell that story for the rest of his life. Scipio does not know this. It is not why he stopped. He stopped because he remembered the name. The name is not the soldier's name. The action is the name. Some people you remember by what they did. This man he remembers by what he did at Illapa. He files the memory and rides on. The interpreter's name is Hanno. He has been with Hannibal for 11 years. He learned Greek in Alexandria, Latin in Rome as a prisoner, Punic at home in Carthage. He speaks 4 languages and Hannibal trusts him completely. Not because he is never wrong. Because when he is wrong he says so immediately. The quality Hannibal values above all others. On the ride out to the meeting Hannibal says nothing. He does not prepare what he is going to say. He has been saying what he is going to say in his mind for 2 weeks. The words exist. The problem is not the words. The problem is the man he will say them to. You cannot prepare for a man you have never met. You can prepare for what you know about him. You can know a great deal. He knows that Scipio is 28. He knows the arc of his career. Spain. Carthago Nova. Illapa. The decision to cross to Africa. He has followed this from a distance the way you follow a chess piece that threatens your position. Watching the moves. Trying to understand the pattern behind them. What he found in the pattern was not what he expected. He expected a man who learned from his father. The family pattern. Military service, advancement, political ambition in the correct order. What he found instead was a man who learned from his enemies. The formations at Illapa were borrowed from what Hannibal did at Cannae and then modified. Not copied. Modified. Understood and then built into something new. You only do that if you have actually understood the thing you borrowed from. This is, he knows how good generals are made. You fight the best. You lose. You study what happened. Then you use what you found. He has been doing this for 30 years. He recognizes it in others. He wonders if Scipio knows he learned this from him. He probably does. This kind of man usually knows. Hanno, the interpreter, watches the meeting from his position behind Hannibal. He has interpreted for Hannibal at councils and negotiations for 11 years. He is very good at reading what is not said. The weight that falls on certain words. The particular quality of a silence. He has learned this because Hannibal communicates a great deal through what he does not say. He watches Scipio. What he sees is a young man who is very still. Not calm exactly. So, there is a difference. Calm is the absence of feeling. Still is feeling managed. Scipio has feeling but he manages it so completely that only the stillness is visible. He does this with his body. His hands. The angle of his head. He is doing to Hannibal exactly what Hannibal is doing to him. They are both reading. Both of them at the same time looking for the thing that will decide the outcome. Hanno watches the silence after Hannibal says, I was never beaten in the field. He watches Scipio hold the silence. He thinks, I do not know which of these men is better at this. He thinks this. Then he translates the next words. The meeting ends. The 2 men turn and ride back to their armies. He files it away. He does not know yet what it means for tomorrow. Chapter 3, 80 Animals. Dawn comes fast on the Zama plain. One moment the sky is dark. Then it is gray. Then it is light. There is no moment between. The light arrives everywhere at once with no shelter from it. Both armies are in position before the light comes. They have been moving since the last dark hour before dawn. The ground between them is 200 meters. Far enough to see clearly. Close enough to hear the drums from the other side. The drums from the Carthaginian side start before first light. A steady beat. Not fast. Not urgent. The beat says, "We have been waiting. We are not afraid." The sound carries flat across the plain. It arrives in the Roman positions unchanged by distance. It is louder than it should be. Scipio is on horseback behind the main line. He watches the Carthaginian formation take shape across the plain. He counts the lines. First line, Allied troops and Gallic mercenaries. Second line, Carthaginian and African infantry. Third line set back and separate, the veterans. The men who spent 14 years in Italy. The men who fought at every major battle of this war and won all of them. They are standing very still. He notes the distance between the third line and the second. Hannibal has separated them deliberately. He does not want the veterans engaged until the right moment. He is saving them. Correct decision. Scipio would do the same. Hannibal is somewhere behind them. Scipio cannot see him. He does not need to see him. He knows exactly where he is and what he is watching for. Scipio checks his own lines. The maniples are straight. The lanes are open. He can see the gaps from front to rear. The Velites are at the front. Masinissa is on the right flank with his Numidian cavalry. Laelius is on the left with the Italian horse. He looks at the lanes one more time. He is about to find out if the lanes work. The sound comes before the animals are visible. Not a sound exactly. A feeling in the ground. Something alive and very heavy, distributed across a wide front. Moving. Then the elephants appear on the Carthaginian front line. 80 of them. In a line that spans the full width of the formation. Moving forward at first in a walk. The mahouts driving. Small men on top of enormous animals. The animals understand that they are running toward something. They do not know what. They understand the noise of the mahout. They understand the prod. They understand movement. Then the walk becomes a trot. The sound changes. The ground moves in a way that is different from any other movement. Not the way the ground moves in an earthquake. A different movement. Rhythmic. A pulse. Each footfall sending its weight through the earth in a circle. Multiply that by 80. The soldiers in the front ranks of the Roman line feel it through their feet before they hear it. Some of them look down at their own feet. Then they look up. The morning light hits the elephants in a specific way. Their size at this distance is hard to hold in the mind. They are too large for what the eye expects an animal to be. They do not look like animals. They look like a landscape moving. A soldier in the third rank does something most men around him will never admit they almost did. He takes a step back. Not running. One step. The man behind him catches him by the back of the armor and he stops. He stands where he was. He does not take another step. The elephants are moving at full speed now. The Velites begin. They run forward ahead of the formation. Light infantry. Javelins and short horns. They have been told what to do with the horns. A specific pitch. High and sharp. They practiced it the previous evening. Behind the mule enclosure. They watched the mules react to the pitch. The mules reacted strongly. They were not told why they practiced it. They understand now. They throw the javelins at the elephants' faces. 50 javelins in a single volley. Not all hitting. Enough hitting. The sharp points find the thin skin around the eyes and ears. The soft flesh at the edges of the trunk. The animals shake their heads. Several slow. Several veer. The Velites blow the horns. 3 elephants in the center of the line react to the horn sound. Not fear exactly. Bang. The horn at that pitch hits something in the animal's hearing that produces a specific response. The animal shakes its head and turns. Not turning to run. Turning to find where the pain is coming from. There is no direction that removes the pain. The sound is everywhere. One of these 3 elephants turns left. It runs into the Carthaginian left flank cavalry. The horses scatter. Horses do not like elephants at any distance. An elephant running toward them at full speed is not a calculation they will make. They go sideways. The formation breaks. Masinissa sees this from the right flank. He does not wait for an order. 3,000 Numidian horses accelerate at once. Masinissa is at the front. Not behind his riders. At the front. He has been at the front of every charge since he was 19 years old. He does not know how to lead any other way. The Numidian cavalry follows him not because of rank, because of what he is when the speed starts. Something different from the man who talks, the man who rides. The Carthaginian left cavalry is already scattered by the elephant. Masinissa hits them at full gallop. Contact is fast and loud. Then the Carthaginian left flank cavalry is no longer a cavalry formation. It is individuals running. Masinissa does not stop. He goes through them and keeps going. Around the far edge of the plain. He will come back. He is tracking the sound of the battle at the center of the plain. He is measuring the distance and the time. He knows what he is waiting for. He has talked with Scipio about what he is waiting for. On the left, Laelius sees Masinissa move and follows a half-count later. The Italian horse accelerating across the left flank. The Carthaginian right cavalry is already turning to meet them. They turn too late. Laelius hits them at angle and speed. The Carthaginian right cavalry holds for 1 minute. Then it does not hold. Laelius does not stop either. The plain between the armies is suddenly only infantry. The Roman front holds its ground. The Velites have come back through the lanes. They moved fast, turned, ran the length of the lanes and came out behind the formation. The lanes closed behind them. The maniples are back to position. Everything happened in the correct order. The first elephants reach the front line. A lane opens. The motion is fast enough that the elephant does not see it happen. One moment the formation is solid. Then there is a path through it. The elephant runs into the path. It does not choose to. It is already moving. It is already committed to the direction. The path is there. It runs through. The lane closes. Another elephant follows the first lane. The lane opens. The elephant runs through. The lane closes. 3 at once on the left section of the formation. 3 lanes open. 3 elephants run through. 3 lanes close. The formation breathes. Like breathing. Like something alive managing the pressure of an enormous force. Some elephants do not find a lane. 6 hit the left end of the line, where the maniple timing was half a second slow. The lane was there. Then it was not there fast enough. The animals hit the solid edge of the formation instead of the gap. The sound of this is not what you expect. Not a crash. A different sound. The sound of something large and moving hitting something large and not moving. Wood and metal and the terrible noise of men caught between. 2 Roman soldiers go down in the first impact. The formation closes around them. The elephant moves sideways along the front of the formation, confused and in pain. Soldiers stab at it from both sides. It turns and runs back toward the Carthaginian line. It runs through its own front line. The Gallic mercenaries scatter around it. They close back. They reform. The shields lock. The man on his left smells of fear. Not shame. Just the body's honest answer to what is coming. A pilum comes over the rim. He takes it on the boss. His arm holds. Push. The line pushes back. His foot finds something soft. He does not look down. The elephant is gone. The Gaul in front of him is not. The Gaul drives low. He drops his shield edge. Takes it on the outside of his thigh. He does not go down. 1 step. He takes it. By mid-morning the plain is a specific kind of noise. The whole front engaged. 20,000 Romans and 20,000 Carthaginian first-line troops in contact. The sound of it. Close in and massive. Not one thing. Hundreds of things compressed into one continuous sound that changes in quality as the front moves. Scipio rides behind his formation. He is reading the line the way he reads terrain. Looking for the places where it is thinning. Where the replacement is slower than it should be. Where the front is bending back slightly. He sends a runner to the left. The left is holding but the center is absorbing more than the rest. He moves 2 replacement maniples to support the center. He watches the line stabilize. The first Carthaginian line fights for 2 hours. Then it begins to give ground. Slowly at first. Then faster. The Roman legions hold the line. They work at close range. They replace the front rank when it tires. The process is mechanical. The Roman maniple system was designed for exactly this. Rotating the front rank. Keeping fresh men at the cutting edge of the contact. The first line breaks back through the second. The second line steps forward. A Gallic mercenary drives his blade left. Misses. The man next to him is already moving right. The Roman goes down without a word. The Gaul who stabbed him steps forward. Finds another gap. He does not see the pilum until it is in his side. He sits down. Very carefully. The way a man sits when he does not yet understand he is done. The maniple closes over him. There is always another one. Fresh troops against tired ones. This is the plan Scipio knew was coming. He has prepared for it. His line takes the second hit and holds again. The second line is stronger than the first. Better troops. Better equipment. They push the Roman line back half a meter. They push it back another half. The Roman line holds. The third line has not moved. Hannibal's veterans are watching. Waiting. They fight when Hannibal tells them to fight. Not before. They have learned that the moment matters as much as the strength. They are the kind of men who have learned things the hard way and kept the lessons. Scipio looks right. He looks left. Dust on both flanks moving somewhere far away. He cannot see the cavalry from here. He can only hear the distant different sounds of a cavalry battle happening out of sight. One battle at the center of the plain. Two smaller battles at the edges somewhere past the horizon. He checks the sun. 3 hours have passed. He looks at the veterans. They have not moved. The infantry contact begins in the middle of the morning. The Roman trumpets give the signal. The legions advance at a walk, then a trot. Not a charge. The maniple system does not charge. It advances. The difference matters. A charge uses energy that you cannot recover. An advance uses the formation. The formation is the weapon. The Carthaginian first line comes forward to meet them. The distance closes in the space of 50 steps. Then there is no space. The sound changes. Everything that happened before this was sound at a distance. The drums across the plain. The trumpets. The noise of 80 elephants. All of it with space in it. Now the space is gone. The sound is close. It is the sound of close contact. Metal on metal. The specific sharp sound of a javelin stopped by a shield from close range. The sound of men breathing hard in formation. Of the ground under heavy sandals. Of the effort of close fighting concentrated across 2,000 meters of front line. The Roman front rank advances one step. The Carthaginian line holds. The Roman front rank advances another step. The line holds. The third step. The Carthaginian line gives one step back. This is how it works. Step by step. The formation pressing forward. The replacement system behind it, moving the tired men back, pushing the fresh men up. The machine of the maniple system. The Gallic mercenaries in the Carthaginian first line are the first to show the stress. They are good fighters. They have been fighting for money since they were young. They do not fight out of loyalty. They fight out of contract and professional habit. This is not a weakness exactly. Professional fighters know their own limits better than men who fight out of belief. When the limit is reached, they know it clearly. The limit comes in the second hour. A section of the Gallic line gives ground faster than the sections on either side. Not panic. A calculation. The calculation says, this position is becoming untenable. The Roman pressure is too even. There is no weak point to exploit. The line is being pressed back uniformly. Given this, the smart thing is to break contact and reform. The sections on either side of the Gallic section do not do this at the same time. The gap appears. The Roman legions push through it. The first Carthaginian line falls back. Into the second. The second line steps forward to receive them. The two forces get confused for a moment. The breaking first line moving back. The second line trying to move forward. For a few seconds the Carthaginian position is a mixed formation. Then it sorts itself. The first line moves through the gaps. The second line closes. Scipio watches this from behind his own line. He sends a runner to the left flank reserves. Hold position. The left flank needs to stay where it is until he has seen what the second line does. The second line fights differently from the first. They are Carthaginian and African infantry. Not mercenaries. Men who are fighting because this is their country. The pressure of the Roman advance is the same. The response is different. They do not make the calculation that the Gallic mercenaries made. They hold the line because the line is what they have. The Roman advance slows. Scipio checks the time. He checks the flanks. The dust on both sides is still moving away. Masinissa and Laelius are still in pursuit. They have not turned back. He does not know where they are. He knows approximately how long it will take. He knows the calculation he made before the battle. The cavalry needs to be gone long enough to scatter the Carthaginian cavalry completely. Not long enough for the veterans to break his infantry before they return. He watches the second line hold. He sends the replacement maniples forward. Fresh troops to relieve the first rank. The rotation happens smoothly. The second rank comes up. The tired men fall back. The advance continues. The third line has not moved. It is holding position 50 meters behind the second line. The veterans standing. Watching. Not moving. Not tiring. Hannibal has positioned them far enough back. The dust and noise of the first two engagements has not reached them fully. They are fresh. They are watching everything. Scipio counts the hours. 1, 2, 3. He looks right. He looks left. The dust is still moving away. An officer comes to Scipio in the second hour. His name is Marcus Valerius. He commands the 4th cohort on the right wing. He has been watching the cavalry dust on the right the way Scipio has been watching it. He comes because he has a question he cannot ask by messenger. He says, "When do we know?" Scipio says, "When the dust changes direction." Valerius says, "And if it does not?" Scipio looks at him. He says it will. Valerius is 40 years old. He has been a soldier for 20 years. He is not a man who needs reassurance. He is a man who wants an honest answer and knows how to hear one. He heard the honest answer. He nods. He goes back to his cohort. Scipio watches him go. He thinks, "I do not know. I think it will." It depends on Masinissa and what the Carthaginian cavalry did when Masinissa hit them. If they scattered completely, Masinissa can turn and come back. If they did not scatter completely, if some of them regrouped and are still fighting, he cannot come back. He does not know which of these is true. He checks the dust. It is still moving away. The second Carthaginian line pushes back harder in the third hour. A section in the center of the Roman line has been engaged longer than the rest. The replacement rotation is slower in the center because the center receives the most direct pressure. The men from the replacement pool come up from a shorter distance. Less time to recover before they go back in. The system is working. But it is working at the edge. He sends a rider to his reserve maniple on the left center. He gives the order to move the reserve forward. Not into contact. Behind the line. Closer. He watches the line hold. It holds because the men holding it have decided to hold it. That is always what it comes down to. The plan creates the conditions. The plan does not hold the line. The man in the front rank holds the line. His shield arm holds the line. His decision in the 4th second. To take another step forward instead of the step back his body wants. That holds the line. He does not know the names of the men holding the line. He knows they are there. The third line is now clearly visible. Hannibal has moved it slightly forward in the last hour. Not into engagement. Into position. They are 40 meters behind the second line. Standing. The formation is perfect. He can see the evenness of it from this distance. The shield spacing. The depth. The particular quality of soldiers who have been waiting for the right moment for 3 hours. And know it is close. He looks at the veterans and he thinks, this is what it cost. Everything. All of it. The plan to bring the war to Africa. The years in Spain. The alliance with Masinissa. The training at night with the lamps. The drafting of the formation change. All of it was to get to this moment with the veterans not yet engaged. To have the lanes work so that the formation is still intact. To have Masinissa still in pursuit rather than cut down by the Carthaginian cavalry. Everything he has done brought him to this moment. Now he has to wait. He checks the dust on the right. Still moving away. He looks at the veterans. They have not moved. Chapter 4. The Cavalry Returns. The second Carthaginian line breaks in the early afternoon. Not all at once. In sections. One section gives ground too fast. The section next to it tries to fill the gap and cannot. The gap widens. The Roman legions push through. The second line falls back into the third. Hannibal watches from behind his formation. He has been watching since the elephants. He watched the lanes open. He had not prepared for lanes. He watched the first and second lines absorb the Roman pressure. Both lines did what they were supposed to do. They slowed the Roman advance. They wore the Roman front ranks down. They bought time for the third line to come in fresh against tired men. This was the plan. The plan required one other thing. It required the cavalry to return before the third line was engaged. The cavalry has not returned. He gives the order. The third line moves. They are the men who crossed the Alps. They crossed in the fall of the year 16 years ago with Hannibal at the front. They started with 26,000 infantry. They came down into Italy with fewer than half that number. The mountains took the rest. The Gauls who attacked from above in the passes. The animals who went over the edge. The men who followed the animals. The ones who came down were different from the ones who went up. The mountains did something to them that cannot be described by saying they were harder. They were something else. They were men who had survived a thing that killed the man next to them. They could not explain why. They carried that explanation for 16 years. They carried that explanation with them for 16 years. They won at Trebia. They won at Trasimene. They won at Cannae. They won at Herdonia. At Nemistro. At Venusia. 16 years of battles in a foreign country. Without a supply line. Without reinforcement from Carthage. What they needed they took from the land. What they could not take from the land they did without. They have not lost a battle. Now they move forward on a plain in Africa. The sound of the veteran formation is different from anything else on this field. The previous two lines moved with the sound of men under stress. Breathing hard. The noise of tired equipment and tired bodies. The sounds of men who have been fighting for hours. The third line sounds different. They move with a steadiness that the other lines did not have. The step is even. The shields are up in the correct position. The formation gaps are correct. They have done this many times. The movement has no waste in it. They hit the Roman front. The shields lock. Not the way they locked at dawn. The way they lock after 3 hours. The man beside him is breathing through his teeth. Both of them are. The veteran in front is not. He drives low. Under the rim. The impact comes up through the wrist. The elbow. The shoulder. Wrong angle. The kind of wrong that comes from a man who knows exactly where to put it. One step back. The sandal finds soft ground. He does not go down. He holds. But the line feels it. The difference. This is not the way the first two lines fought. A Roman in the second rank steps up to fill the gap on his right. He drives at the space between the veteran's shield and arm. Clean line. Good angle. The veteran has seen this angle 40 times. He moves before the thrust completes. The return comes low. The Roman goes down without a sound. The man behind him fills the space before the gap opens. The line closes. It does not stop. The Roman legions have been fighting for 3 hours. The men in the front ranks have been replaced many times. The men who are there now are tired in the way men get tired in close combat. Not the kind of tired that comes from lack of sleep. The kind that comes from sustained effort at close quarters. The arms are slower. The decisions come half a second later than they should. The front rank replacement has kept the fresh men coming up. But fresh is a relative thing now. The freshest men available are men who have been waiting in the sun for 3 hours. The veterans feel this. The moment of contact tells them what they are dealing with. One push and then another. The Roman line gives a step. The veterans press. Another step. The Roman line gives again. This is different from 16 years ago. When Rome had its full strength and the ground was different. This is the resistance of good men who are tired. They press it. The Roman line begins to give ground. Scipio rides the back of his formation. He is watching the line. He is watching for the point where giving ground becomes breaking. He has seen that point before. He knows how close they are to it. The veterans are the best infantry he has ever seen in motion. He has read the accounts. Now he is seeing it. The accounts were accurate. He looks right. He looks left. He looks right again. He is looking at the dust. 3 hours ago the dust on the right was moving away from the battle. The cavalry pursuing. Fast dust going fast away. He has been watching the dust on the right the way a man in the desert watches the sky. He cannot control when it comes. He can only watch for when it changes. The dust on the right is still moving away from the battle. He looks at his formation. The line is giving ground. Half a meter in the last 2 minutes. Slow. But the direction is wrong. He calls a runner. He sends the message to the right wing reserves. Hold. Hold until I tell you. He looks right again. The dust has not changed. Something is on the horizon. On the right flank at the edge of the plain, something is different. Not something he can identify yet. A quality of the light. A change in what the horizon is doing. He keeps watching it. The dust on the right flank. For 3 hours it has been a single column moving in one direction. Away from the battle. North and then east. Following the broken Carthaginian cavalry. Pursuing. Masinissa does not pursue slowly. He does not pursue carefully. He pursues to destruction. It is what he does. The dust column is not moving away anymore. It is standing still. Then it is moving back. Pull back. From up here the plain at Zama is one dark stain across the valley floor. Dust rises off both ends. The hills to the south do not care. The sky does not care. 40,000 men, and from this height not one of them has a name. Then the dust on the right horizon stops moving away. Down again. Back into the noise. Back into the man on his horse. This happens over the course of perhaps 30 seconds. The dust column on the right horizon. Moving fast. Away. Then still. Then moving fast. But the direction has reversed. The line at the edge of sight is getting larger instead of smaller. It is getting larger fast. Masinissa. He has been riding for 3 hours. He scattered the Carthaginian cavalry off the field. He ran them until they stopped being cavalry. Then he turned. He counted the time. He knew how far he had gone and how long it would take to come back. He turned and came back. He did not come back slowly. 3,000 Numidian horses. Full speed. Across the plain from the north. Around the eastern edge of the Carthaginian formation. The Carthaginian formation that has no rear guard because Hannibal needed every man in the 3 lines. On the left side of the plain, Laelius comes back the same way. Both cavalry forces hit the Carthaginian rear at the same moment. The sound arrives before Scipio fully understands what he is seeing. A new sound added to the existing sounds of the battle. From behind the Carthaginian formation. From 2 directions at once. The sound of cavalry in full contact. Not the sound of cavalry hitting infantry in open ground, which spreads and scatters. The sound of cavalry hitting a rear with nowhere to go. The Carthaginian formation is a fixed point. The infantry is engaged in front. The cavalry has returned behind. The veterans are compressed between these 2 things. Not yet. But in seconds. The compression happens fast. The rear ranks feel the pressure of the cavalry before they see it. The man behind them is moving forward. Trying to. Nowhere to go. The formation gets tighter. Men who are fighting at the front begin to feel it. The man behind them is closer than he should be. The room is smaller than it should be. The shield cannot move the way it needs to move. Hannibal hears it before he sees it. The sound behind his formation changes. The rear of his own army changes its quality. He turns his horse. He looks. He knows what he is looking at. He has done this himself. At Trebia. At Cannae. He closed the cavalry on both flanks and the rear. He built the trap and he watched it close. He has seen this from the outside many times. He has seen what happens to the men inside it. He knows what this is. He is looking at it now from the inside. He watches his veterans. They are still fighting. They are still moving forward. They are the best infantry in the world and they know it and they fight that way. But the cavalry is behind them. The Roman legions are in front of them. The formation is compressing. Men cannot fight when they are compressed. The space they need for the weapons to work is gone. The man next to you is now too close for your shield arm to operate correctly. The man behind you is pushing. There is nowhere to put that pressure. He has been fighting for 30 years. He has won battles that should not have been won. He has done things on a battlefield that no one believed were possible. He was at the center of the largest army Rome ever assembled. He broke it in 4 hours. He has slept in the field for 14 years with no city and no country sending him help. He is watching this battle end. He watched it happen to other armies. From the outside. From the good side. The position is clear. He knows what the arithmetic says. He has always known what the arithmetic says. That is the skill. That is the thing that 14 years in the field in a foreign country gave him. The ability to read what is happening before it is completely done. The ability to see the end of the thing while there is still time to do something. There is nothing to do. The arithmetic is finished. He turns his horse. He rides east. He does not look back. He has never looked back after a decision. That habit was formed on the day he left Carthage. He was 9 years old. He did not look back then. He has not looked back since. This time it is not discipline. He knows what is behind him. He has seen it from the other side enough times to know. He does not need to look. He rides east. He does not stop. The Roman line stops giving ground. The veterans are still fighting. They will fight until they fall. They are the best infantry in the world, and that remains true even now. But the push from behind them changes everything. The formation is compressed from two directions. Men in compressed formation stop being an army. They become individuals. Individuals do not hold against organized formations. The space that made them dangerous is gone. The line begins to come apart. Not quickly. The best soldiers break the way the best soldiers break. Slowly. In sections. Each section fighting until it stops. Then another section stops. The men at the edges of the formation are the first to have room to run. Most of them do not run. They turn to face the cavalry. They die facing it. Some sections try to pull back. They cannot. The cavalry behind them is moving too fast in too many directions. There is no clean direction to pull back toward. Scipio watches it from behind his own line. He watches Masinissa's cavalry working through the rear. He watches Laelius on the other side. He watches the veterans break. Each section going down. He tries to count the places where it is still holding. He cannot count fast enough. He looks for Hannibal. He cannot find him. By late afternoon it is done. The plain at Zama is quiet in the specific way that battlefields are quiet after. Not silence. The sounds are still there. Men. Animals. The particular low constant sounds that a battlefield makes when the fighting has stopped and the dying has not. The sounds are everywhere, but they do not add up to the previous sound. The previous sound had direction and shape. This does not. Scipio sits on his horse. He is very still. He has been in motion since before dawn. Since the night before. Since the day before that. His body does not know yet that it can stop. He sits and feels the stillness of the ground under the horse. For a moment he does not move at all. He thinks about Masinissa. 3 hours ago the dust was moving away. Then it changed. He had watched for the dust the way he had planned to watch for it. He had looked right every few minutes. He had counted the looking. He had made himself wait between looks. Not every minute. He had made himself wait longer. Because if you look every minute for 3 hours you stop seeing clearly. He had looked right at the correct moment. He had seen the dust change direction. He does not know if he would have seen it if he had looked 1 minute later. He will never know. It does not matter. He saw it. He dismounts. He stands on the plain. He is 28 years old. He will not know for weeks what this day means. He knows what the battle was. He does not know yet what comes after the battle. He will find out. A messenger arrives. Masinissa is requesting position. Laelius is requesting position. The prisoners are being organized. The wounded are being organized. The counting has started. He gives the orders. Chapter 5. What the war left behind. The counting takes until evening. 20,000 Carthaginian dead. 20,000 taken prisoner. The veterans are gone. Most died where they stood. The rear sections were caught by cavalry and died that way. A few vanished into the plain and did not come back. These will be found over the next several days by the scouting parties. Some of them will not be found. Roman losses come in as the afternoon goes on. A runner every hour. He receives each number and holds it. He walks the field in the last of the light with one officer. He walks slowly. He does this after every battle. He looks at what happened. He tries to understand what it cost. The field after a battle is a different thing from the field before one. Not the obvious difference. The obvious difference is visible from a distance. It is the other difference, the one you can only see close up. The ground itself. The ground remembers what happened to it. The marks that will take weeks to go. The disturbed earth where formations moved. The particular shape of the places where the fighting was most intense. He walks through all of it. He finds where the elephants went through. The lanes are still visible. Not the lanes exactly. The places where the lanes were. The ground on either side shows the pattern of men standing close together and moving in a very precise way. The ground in the lane itself shows the weight of an elephant moving fast. He stands in one of the lanes and looks at the length of it. Front to back. 60 meters. He walked this lane in his mind many times. He walked it in the training. Now he is walking it for the first time on the real ground. He finds the place on the left where the timing was wrong. Where two men went down. He stands there. He looks at the ground. He does not know the names of those two men yet. He will know tomorrow. He walks on. He finds the place where the veterans made their last stand. He can tell by how the dead are lying. They stood very close together at the end. That is the formation of men who have no room and who fight anyway. The dead are not scattered. They are in the shape of the formation they held. He stands there for a long time. He thinks about 18-year-old Scipio at Cannae, standing at the edge of a different field, counting a different kind of dead. He thinks about carrying that number home. 70,000. He has carried it since. The men who died here today were soldiers for 20 years. Longer for some. They followed Hannibal across the Alps. Through 16 years of war in Italy. Home to Africa. To this plain. He does not know how to account for that. He is not sure accounting is the right word. He is not sure there is a right word. He knows that he built the thing that compressed them. He knows that Masinissa's cavalry completed it. He knows the plan worked. He knows that the plan working meant this. He knows all of this together. He walks on. He walks the entire field before dark. He walks where the first Carthaginian line engaged. He walks where the second line stood and where it broke. He walks the ground at the edges of the field where Masinissa's cavalry cut through the rear. He finds the places where the ground shows what happened with no question about it. He walks for 2 hours. He does not think about anything in particular while he walks. He takes in what the field is showing him. The field shows him the whole battle laid out on the ground. A map is made by someone who understands what they are drawing. The field was made by what happened. The field was made by what happened. He thinks about the man who saw it from the other side. Who understood what he was looking at when the cavalry came back. Who made the calculation and acted on it without delay. Hannibal somewhere east of Zama. Moving. The habit of surviving. He puts that thought aside. He walks back to camp. The Carthaginian envoys arrive in the 3rd week. 3 men under a white flag. Senior officials. They are brought to Scipio's tent in the morning. They are formal in the way that losing parties are formal. Formal as a kind of discipline. If the form holds, something holds. They are afraid. Not of him personally. Of the terms. He tells them the terms. Carthage gives up its war fleet. All ships but 10. It withdraws from all territory outside Africa. It returns all Roman and Italian prisoners. It pays 50 talents of silver every year for 50 years. It does not make war outside Africa without Rome's permission. He says, these are the terms. One envoy says this is very harsh. Scipio says, yes. He says it without pleasure. He has thought about this. Not for days. For years. Since he began planning this campaign. The terms are what they are because soft terms produce another war. He has thought about every Roman general who came before him and what their terms produced. He has thought about what happens when the losing side is left with enough to try again. The terms are what they are. The envoys ask for time to consider. He gives them 30 days. They accept this and leave. He does not watch them go. The 30 days pass. The camp settles into the particular stillness of an army waiting for diplomacy to finish what battle started. The men repair equipment. They organize the supplies. They count the prisoners and arrange the columns. They do the work that armies do when the fighting is done but the next order has not come. Scipio writes reports. He writes to the Senate. He writes to his family. He writes down the battle while it is still clear in his mind. The positions, the timing, the lanes, the moment the dust changed direction. He writes it so that he could read it 10 years from now and understand what happened. He writes one document that is not a report. It is a set of observations about Hannibal. What he saw in 20 minutes of conversation. The way the man thought. The quality of his stillness. What it was like to read a man who was also reading you. And was better at it than almost anyone he has met. He will keep this document. He will not share it. Masinissa comes to find him that evening. He sits down next to Scipio outside the tent. He sits the way he always sits, watching the perimeter. He has a cup and he does not offer any of it. He looks at the plain. He is silent for a long time. Outside the camp, the plain is dark. The same plain that was covered with armies 12 days ago. Now it is just a plain again. The dust has settled. The ground looks as it did before from a distance. You have to walk it to see what happened there. He says it is done. Scipio says, almost. The Carthaginian Senate still has 30 days. Masinissa says they will accept. Scipio says, yes. A silence. Masinissa turns the cup in his hands. He looks at it. He sets it down. He picks it up again. This is a man who does not fidget. He is doing something with the cup that is not fidgeting. He is waiting for something to arrive. Whatever it is, it has not arrived yet. He says, I have been at war since I was 19. I do not remember what it was before that. He says it quietly. He is not asking for anything. He is noting a fact the way he notes facts. The way he noted the depth of the plain before the battle. The position of the sun at every hour during the engagement. The direction the dust was moving on the horizon in the 3rd hour. He says, I have my kingdom back. That was the agreement. Scipio says, yes. Masinissa says, and what do you get? Scipio is quiet for a moment. He says, Rome gets what it was fighting for. Masinissa looks at him. He says, and you? Scipio does not answer. Masinissa nods. He looks at the plain. He says, for now is enough. He means the peace. He means the kingdom. He means all of it. He also means something else that he does not say. Something that has to do with a cup carried down a corridor. A woman who chose how to sit in a chair. A name that is not spoken between them. It does not need to be. He drinks from his cup. He stands. He goes back to his horses. The Carthaginian Senate accepts the terms. They accept on the final day of the 30 days. They accept in the way of losing parties. Without negotiating further. They have counted what they have and they know the position they are in. They have weighed the terms and what the alternative looks like. The alternative is more fighting. More fighting ends the same way. They have done the arithmetic. The war is over. Not the peace. The peace takes longer. The war leaves things that do not disappear when the fighting stops. Years of adjustment. Disputes. Times when the terms are tested by both sides finding out what the new arrangement means. That is what comes next. But the war is over. Scipio stands in front of his army on the plain and tells them this. He does not make a long speech. He says the war is over. You did this. He dismisses them. The army cheers for a long time. He goes back to his tent. He thinks about it that night. Not the battle. Not the terms. He thinks about the silence on the plain. When he told Hannibal those terms are not enough. When Hannibal said, then we fight tomorrow. The silence between that moment and walking away. It was not a long silence. 3 seconds. Maybe 4. The kind of silence that happens when both sides have said what they had to say. The air still carrying the sound of it. He was a boy who counted the dead at Cannae. He is the man who ended the war. He is 28 years old. He is not sure yet what comes after ending the war. He has been moving toward this for 10 years. Everything he did pointed here. Now here is behind him. He does not know what he moves toward now. You will find out. It is how he has always operated. He finds out by moving. He puts the lamp out. Hannibal is somewhere east of Zama. The cavalry scouts followed him for 2 days. He rode east without stopping. He has no army. He has no city. He has no base. He has what he always had when everything else was gone. His mind. His experience. the habit of surviving, the habit of moving. You will not stop moving. Scipio does not know where east ends. He knows that Hannibal will find it. He thinks about the look on Hannibal's face when he said, "I was never beaten in the field." That was the look of a man who was still right. He closes his eyes. The counting continues through the night. By morning the numbers are in. Roman losses, 1,500 dead, 3,000 wounded. A fraction of Cannae. A fraction of Trebia. But each number is a name. Each name is a family. This math does not get easier with repetition. He reads the list. He reads all of it. He has done this after every battle. Not as a duty. Because the list is what the battle costs. You can know the number without reading it. You cannot understand the cost without reading it. There is a difference. He sets the list down. He sends for the army's record keeper. He tells him to make sure the list reaches the families. Not a standard letter. The name and the unit and the date and the place. He tells him to record the action each man was involved in. So the family knows what the man did. Not just that he died. What he did. This takes the record keeper most of the morning. Scipio spends the morning on the administrative work that follows a battle. He is good at this. He has always been good at the parts of command that other commanders find tedious. The supply reports. The prisoner organization. The condition of the cavalry horses after the long pursuit. He finds that the details matter. The details are where the next thing is built. He walks the field one more time in the evening. The field is different now than it was the day before. Some things have been cleared. Some things have not. The bodies of the veterans have been moved. He walks the cleared ground. He stands at the center of it. He thinks about the centurion. He does not know the name of any specific centurion who fought today. He knows the shape of what happened from the reports. The center held longer than he expected. The men in the front rank fought for 4 and 5 hours. The replacement system worked at the edge of its capacity. He knows this from the numbers. But he did not see the individual man. He thinks about the unnamed centurion who held the line while the cavalry was still out on the flanks. Whoever he was. That man and the men around him held the thing until Masinissa came back. That is what the victory is. Not the plan. The plan was a good plan. The victory is that man. Whoever held the front rank for 4 hours without knowing when the cavalry would return. He will not know this man's name. He probably did not survive. The casualty lists for the front rank centurions are long. He walks on. He sits outside his tent that night and thinks about what he will do next. The immediate things are clear. The Carthaginian Senate will send envoys. The terms will be delivered. The peace will be negotiated. He will handle this. Then he will return to Rome. He has been away for several years. Rome will receive him in a specific way. He knows what this looks like. He has seen it happen to other commanders. He does not know yet if it will please him or not. He has been moving toward this point for 10 years. Since Ticinus. Since Cannae. Since the night in Spain when he decided to cross to Africa and bring the war here. Everything he has done has been pointing here. Now here is behind him. He is 28 years old. He has won the largest battle in this war. He does not know what he moves toward next. This is not frightening. It is new. The newness is not the same as fear. He thinks about Hannibal east of the plain. Not as a threat. Not as a problem to be solved. As a man on a horse in the dark. Moving. The habit of surviving. He has been doing it for 30 years. He will keep doing it. Scipio has been alive for 28 years. He has been doing this for 10. He does not know yet how long he will keep doing it. You will find out. He puts the lamp out. The peace negotiations take 6 weeks. Not because the terms are in dispute. The terms were set before the envoys arrived. The negotiation is the form. The form is important to both sides. Losing parties need the form because it is all they have left. Winning parties need the form because it is how agreements become permanent rather than temporary. He meets with the envoys 3 times. The first meeting is the delivery of the terms. The second meeting is the acceptance of the terms in principle. The third meeting is the signing of the documents in the form that Rome requires. 3 meetings over 6 weeks. In between, the envoys return to Carthage and the Carthaginian Senate deliberates. He knows what the deliberations produce. He has seen it before. When a losing side deliberates about terms, the deliberation is not about whether to accept. It is about how to accept, what language to use, what framing, how to present the terms to the Carthaginian people so that the peace feels like something other than complete defeat. He gives them the time they need. He uses the 6 weeks to organize the army for the return to Rome. The prisoners, the equipment, the supplies, the cavalry horses which need attention after the long pursuits, the wounded who are stable now but will need to travel carefully, the dead who are buried in the ground of the plain and will not travel. He visits the burial site once. He stands there in the morning when the army is still asleep. He does not bring anyone with him. He stands there for a long time. On the last day of the 6 weeks, the Carthaginian Senate sends a messenger. The message says, "The Senate has agreed to the terms." Scipio reads it alone in his tent. He sits with it for a moment. He has been working toward this for 10 years. The terms. The agreement. The end of the war. He has it now. It is a document delivered by a messenger in the morning. It is what it is. The weight of it is not in the document. The weight of it was on the plain. In the lanes. In the dust-changing direction. The document is just the end of the thing. He sends for Laelius. When Laelius arrives, Scipio shows him the document without speaking. Laelius reads it. He sets it down. He looks at Scipio. He says it is done. Scipio says, yes. Laelius says we should eat. Scipio says, yes. They eat. He writes one last letter from Africa. He writes to his wife. He tells her he is coming home. He tells her the war is over. He tells her what Africa looks like. What the plain of Zama smells like in the morning. What the stars are like over the desert south of Carthage. He tells her things that have nothing to do with the war. He tells her he thinks about the Tiber. He has been thinking about the Tiber since the morning of the battle. Not as a specific memory. As a feeling. The specific sound of moving water at night. The way the Tiber smells in autumn when the rain comes back to the hills and the river rises. He grew up near the river. He has always thought of it as the sound of home. He wants to hear it. He finishes the letter. He seals it. He will send it with the advance dispatch, so she has time to know before he arrives. Then he gives the orders to break camp. The army begins to move north, toward the coast, toward the ships, toward Rome. He rides at the front. He does not look back at the plain. Writer's note. I do not read Zama as a victory. I watch Scipio walk the field in the last light. He is looking at what the plan cost. He knows the cost before the numbers come in. He knows it from the shape of the dead. He was 18 at Cannae. He counted 70,000. He is 28 at Zama. He is on the other side of the counting now. I watch what that does to a man. He has not yet learned how short the distance is between winning and losing. Hannibal rode east without looking back. He was still right about the one thing he said he was right about. That fact traveled with him. I do not know what you do with a fact like that. Neither did he. Next time, Hispania. 3 armies. And the man who built them.